Hello there, folks. This quick video today is going to show you how to send files from really one redline device to an FTP server. But in this case, I'm actually using two redline devices. I'm using two DA70s, and the one here on the left side is actually generating data logs and so forth, and it is going to be sending all of its log files over to the unit on the right side, which is configured as an FTP server. So the left side is going to be my FTP client, which is a DA70 at IP address 21, which you can see right here. And on IP address 23, I'm just picking the last octet. This is going to be my FTP server. So I'm trying to set this up where this thing on the left will send all the files to the right guy every 5 minutes. So in Crimson, let me go ahead and show you the Crimson program. So here's the Crimson program that's running on the DA70. That's the FTP client. Just going to show you, I've got some tags in here, nothing special. But if I go over to my data logger, you can see I've got log 1 in here. I'm doing a continuous sample. Same thing I do in my classes, once a second, reading as fast as possible. And I'm just monitoring some tags from a PID module I have, no big deal. And that's exactly these things here on the screen are the PIDs. Anyway, over here in the left in communications, on the communications side, if you open the services tab, which is going to be all the way down below, there's a thing here called Synch Manager. And what I've done here is I've enabled the Synch Manager here. I've also done a file log sync here. Default storage here. You know that, let me look at something. I've been a huge advocate of this lately, and this should actually go to the extended drive. You notice right now it's set to default. Let me go back over here to my data logger, because this is a big mistake here. Okay, so this is extended, so it's coming from the extended. Very interesting, because over here it says default. Anyway, I think this should be extended, but it's actually working the way it is, so that's weird. But I'll make that extended and see if it works continually. Let me save this and I'll download it real quick. We'll let it run while we're cranking. All right, so this next part right here is the IP address of the server. In this case, that is the unit that's over here. This is my server. I'm using port 21, which is the default in this case. For this quick demo right now, I'm using TCP. I'm not using the TLS yet. I'm going to try to make another example with that, but I'm using TCP. Trying to use this first because this is the easiest to make sure it works before I go down the path of TLS. So you want to make sure this works first before you bite off the TLS step. I'm also going to leave my anonymous login here. I don't really have a password. I'm really just using this for testing, team. Everything else is default here. I do have a record log file for testing. That's great. When you get this working correctly, you do want to go back and turn that off. No sense in continually doing that. That file will become huge otherwise. I have this debug output enabled. That's pretty nice because we can actually see that in the system page. You'll see that in a little bit here. Down here is the base directory. So what that means is over here on the FTP server, it's going to put in these files in this directory. If that directory doesn't exist over here, it will actually create it. So it will put it in that directory, and you'll see that here in a second. This here is how often you want it to synchronize. Now I'm going to, for this example, I'm sending the data over every 5 minutes. I'm not trying to hit this every 2.3 milliseconds like some of our people try to do, which is really weird. I'm going to try 5 minutes. You could probably also try 1 minute interval, but I'm going to go with the 5 minute here for testing. Anyway, so that's all I have set up there. That's about it in this application. This is the main page, and it should be running on here. And like I said, it's going to send it over to here. So let me go see here if we've got anything. Let me go to my web pages here. All right, so as you can see, it's currently, well, 9 a.m., 9:01 here, okay? And I've been doing the video for 4 minutes, so something should have happened at 9 a.m. And I'm going to use the tool called Core FTP. Well, hold on, let me back up a little bit. Let me go look at one more thing here. Over on the FTP server, since this is a DA70, you can't really plug into it a USB cable and see the files on it. So what I've done on that guy is over here in communications on it, actually, I'm sorry, on device configuration, here in device configuration, down here in services, I have enabled the FTP server there. And that's actually had to be turned on for me to be able to send my data to it. So I've got it enabled here. I got the anonymous access set up read write. There's also another place in here where you can do security. Here it says TLS support enabled. I got that turned on. I'm going to play with that a little bit. I don't think that matters right now, but I'm going to leave that there. And that's going to be the product that's going to be getting our files. So let me go back to another tool I used. Since we're using FTP, I'm going to open up a software package I like called Core FTP as a client. This is a low-cost software you can use as a client, and that's what I'm going to use here. So if I go hit the connect button here, and you can, I think, by default, set up 10 sites or something here. Anyway, I've got one here called DA70_23. Notice the IP address. I'm all connected locally here. I'm doing the anonymous, so if you check this button here, it automatically fills this in. I'm using port 21, which is the default. I got this passive connection. And down here, I'm using just regular FTP. Again, we'll do another video with the TLS options. I want this to work first before I go down TLS. So I'm going to click the connect button here. And look, team, it connected. This column here is what's happening on the DA70. This column here is my local hard drive. So if you look here, team, oops, in that unit, let me go ahead and shrink this down a little bit. You have two external drives on here, and I have a SD card in the micro here. So anyway, if I go into the DA70, go to logs, and go to log 1, you can see that today's May 5th, these are all the log files. Now, I want to prove that this actually happened. So with Core FTP, I'm going to go here back to the main listing. Also, notice the directory, DA7021. That is exactly what I set up over here, right there. That's where that came from. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and delete that from here. So I'll get rid of all those files off of here. Okay, now we're back to our root directory. Nothing's going on here. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect from this guy. So I'll do disconnect. Let that be. Okay. Back to my web server part here. Again, here's my two pictures of the stuff here. On the FTP client, the guy that's sending the file over, I also enabled that remote debug. Oh, let me go back. Hold on. Let me show a little more. What I'm talking about is right here. I enabled the debug output right here. In order for you to see that, though, you need to go over here to web server on the left. And on web server, go to the features tab. And on the features tab down here in the system pages, you should enable this. I'm doing enable with commands. That will allow that feature to be seen on the web. So don't forget to do this here. So let me go back there. I'm going to go to the web page. Let's go live here. Again, this one on the left is the FTP. That's the guy that's sending the data over here. So if I go back, click on System Diagnostics, click on Debug Console, and what we'll see in here, this should be live. I'll just go ahead and leave this alone here. I'm going to let this sit right now. This should be live. Is it live? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to let this sit, and every 5 minutes, this is going to dump. So I just went past 9:05. I wonder, did it actually already move the files? Let me log in here. Yeah, it just did again. So no big deal. I'm going to go ahead and delete it once again. Okay. And I'm going to leave this on. And at 9:10 a.m., this table here should populate with a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to pause the video for a second here, and I'll come back, hopefully, in time we can watch that. Okay, we're back here at the debug console, and according to the clock on this one, it's about 10 seconds away. So I'm hoping, if I left this on all right, this should populate with all the FTP traffic here in about 5 seconds. Let's see what happens here. Hopefully I didn't mess anything up, but let's see. Okay, folks, as you saw right there, I got the window finally to populate, and that showed the FTP traffic went through. Now, if I go over to core FTP again over here, and if I do a refresh, look here, I now have the DA70 that I deleted. And of course, if I go into there, oops, if I double click, I can go in, double click again, and here's all the stuff that's in that particular record, and it's on that card. So anyway, that's a quick example of how you can use FTP, the red line device, to sync. In this case, just to recap, I'm using the sync manager over here on the left, and I set that up here to sync to some device, all doing regular TCP right now, and it takes the data logs, and down here every 5 minutes that will happen. Anyway, kind of a quick video showing that, and of course the debug console. Once you get this working correctly, you would want to turn off the log file. You'd want to turn this off, and you probably also could turn off the debug output. You don't need to actually see that every time, so you could turn that feature off. But anyway, that is how to set this up, and pretty cool, easy to use feature. Hey, thanks a lot, folks. Have yourself a great day. See you later.